Hey everyone, welcome to Tathastu. I hope you all are doing good. Well, social media, newspaper, TV channels, everywhere there is one news that the government of India has called for a special parliamentary session from September 18 to September 22. And since then, everybody is trying to make their calculated guess that why is this session has been called for. But today we are not here to make any sort of guess. But yes, we'll talk about what is this special parliamentary session, how is this related to the colonial legacy, and how does it work exactly. Okay, so let's get started with our this specific chapter. But before this, there is a small information for you. So there are 4 courses which have been launched by the Tathastu for your good, and the one is MSLV Mains Success Launch Vehicle. The admissions are open for it now. This specific thing, the Prelim Success Launch Vehicle, is coming soon. Here everything will be focused on how to specifically target the prelims, specifically as we know that how this particular stage is getting very much tricky nowadays. So we are going to specifically target the questions of prelims and the techniques and how to the dynamics of these preliminary examinations and this particular stage. Other than this, there is an NCERT module. In this, registrations are open now and you can register yourself. And then here is a philosophy optional batch which will be conducted from 15th of September by Tanujan ma'am herself. Okay, so let's get started. Why is this in news? As we have discussed that the government of India has announced that a special session of the parliament has been called from September 18 to September 22. Okay, so this is the date. 5-day session has been called for, and the announcement of a special session of parliament is a news. It's unusual. Everybody is surprised because the way it has been called is unusual, because the way sessions have been called, there's a certain way that the government tells that what is the agenda of this specific session. But for this special session, there's no agenda has been given. That is why there is speculation. That is why there is guessing. Okay, so it's news because it's unusual for the government to call a special session without first releasing the agenda. Okay, without first releasing what is the agenda of that particular session. This has led to speculation, and because of speculation there is guess, and everybody is trying to guess it. Someone is saying because it is because of UCC, someone is saying there maybe there is this particular session is because of one nation one election, and then there are other claims and other things also. Okay, so about this, the government, this has led to the speculation that the government's legislative plans for the sessions, which could include important bills and issues regarding this. Okay, so what is this special session of parliament? How to define this special session of parliament? So this special session is a session of a parliament that is convened for a specific purpose, very specific purpose, and there is only one single. It is said, and the experts are saying that in these kind of special sessions, for the last time it was held in 2017. Okay, and since then after 6 years it is happening again. Okay, and these specific sessions, in these specific special sessions, they are conducted only for specific purpose, only for one purpose, and such as commemorating a parliamentary or a national milestone or a subject which is of utmost importance to national security or national importance. Okay, so that is why that has been called for a specific purpose. The constitution does not use the term special session. This is very much important because in prelims we have seen that these kind of questions have been asked, that is the basic structure word is written in the parliament or not, in the constitution or not, or the judicial review, is it mentioned in the constitution or not. Okay, so these kind of questions UPSC does ask this. So the constitution does not use the term special sessions, but the term is sometimes used to refer to these kind of sessions, because we all know there are 3 sessions which have been conducted. One is special session, one is winter session, another is budget session, and other than this there is monsoon session. Okay, so for the 2 houses of the parliament to be in session, the presiding officer must chair these proceedings. Who are the presiding officers? So for Lok Sabha, it is the speaker of that Lok Sabha, he is the presiding officer, and in Rajya Sabha, the vice president, or he is also called the chairman of Rajya Sabha, he is the presiding officer, he or she is the presiding officer. Okay, so these presiding officers can also direct that the proceedings of the respective houses to be limited to that specific purpose only. Okay, so there are particular procedural devices to the member of parliament, whether in Lok Sabha or in Raj Sabha. These procedural devices are 0 hours, question hours. So in these specific sessions, in these special sessions where the member of parliament are going to discuss the specific purpose, there the presiding officer have this thing that they can then they can ask the member of parliament to not ask these type of questions, or this question or this particular specific section will not be conducted. Okay, so that the procedure of the devices such as question hour will be unavailable to the MPs during this session. Okay, so the presiding officer has a right to decide about this. Now, when does the parliament meet? कैसे मिलती है parliament? So India's parliament has no fixed calendar of sittings. Okay, in 1955, although parliamentary committee has been set up in Lok Sabha, and it has suggested some specific dates that इस महीने की इस तारीख पे the Lok Sabha and the Raj Sabha should meet, but since we all know it has not been done, and the government specifically decides it. Okay, so currently the government determines the date and the duration of the parliamentary session. So both the things are being decided by the government of India. Both the things are date and the duration. And the cabinet committee on the parliamentary affairs takes this decision that government is very big, home ministry is there, finance ministry is there, so everyone is there, but in the government, this specific committee, the cabinet committee on parliamentary affairs, it decides then what is the specific date and what is going to be the duration of this specific session. Okay, then this committee, the president is informed, this committee informs the president that this is the date, this is the duration, please call the parliament, and then the president is informed about the committee's decision, who then summons the member of the parliament to meet for the session. So this is the whole thing. Number one is the government. In government, specifically the cabinet committee on the parliamentary affairs matters, and this particular committee informs the president, and then the president summons the parliament, both the houses of the parliament. Okay, let's move on. What does the constitution say regarding this special session? So the constitution specifies that 6 months regarding the sessions. Okay, so 6 months should not elapse between the two parliamentary sessions. Okay, so it has been said that, as I said, we'll discuss the colonial legacy. This particular thing is from colonial legacy. It has been taken from the Britishers, because the Government of India Act 1935, this has its inspiration has been taken from this particular act, because it allowed the British government Governor General to call a session of central legislature at his own discretion, but the gap between these two sessions should not be more than 12 months. Okay, and that is why it has been just taken away from this thing, and this 12 month has been replaced by specifically 6 months. Okay, so a time period between two sessions would be of 6 months, not more than that. At the time of Britishers, it was 12 months. Okay, back in 1935. Now, how often do Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha meet? So before, let's take this specific chronology. Let's take this timeline. So there was a time at the time of independence, and before we have achieved our independence. Before the independence, the Central Assembly met for a little more than 60 days in a year. Okay, so while the deliberations were going on in the Constituent Assembly regarding these parliamentary sessions and how should we meet, what should be the number of days we should meet, so like in every organization and like everywhere else, when we are deliberating about the constitution in the Constituent Assembly, so there were some different viewpoints. There was a section of people who recommended that we should meet consistently for the whole of the year, and there should be little gaps between those meetings, but the meetings should be conducted for the whole of the year. Okay, so one viewpoint was that. Second viewpoint was we should meet more than 100 years, because the British parliaments and the American parliament, the British and the American parliament, both were meeting. The number of days they were having out of 365 days they were meeting was more than 100 days. Okay, or around 100 days. So we should try to match the best of the democracies of the world, and we should meet for more than 100 years. And then there was another perspective also, okay, we should meet 4 times in a year, like we are meeting 3 times in a year right now, but we should, at that time there was a suggestion that we should meet 4 times in a year. Okay, well, B.R. Ambedkar ji, he refused all these things and he listened to everyone, but he gave his own formula that we should meet like this way as we are doing right now. Okay, so before independence, the Central Assembly met for a little more than 60 days a year. This number has increased to 120 days a year in first 20 years of the independence. Okay, so since 1947 to 1967, for these 20 years, our democracy and was actually going the way we wanted. There were serious maybe this time also there are, but at this point in time, maybe the number shows that the parliamentary members who were there in the parliament, maybe they were more serious and maybe they were more responsible, or they had more time, anything, but they were meeting for 120 days. Okay, so this was a good number. Since then, the sitting days of the national legislatures have declined, and it declined drastically because between 2000 to 2021, so this is the data for us for a data of 19 years, the Lok Sabha has an average 67 working days. Okay, so we started before independence, we started just above 60. We for the first 20 years we reached to 120 days, and then there's a drastic decline of almost 50% of the days, and it has reduced to 67. It has come down to 67 working days. The situation in the state legislature is much worse because in 2022 there's an average of 28 state assemblies. They met for less than 21 days. Okay, or an average they met for only 21 days. Okay, so it's even worse at the state legislative assembly level, but at the level of national level, the parliament is meeting for 67 days right now. Okay, the latest data we have. So this was the whole special session which is going to be conducted, and how we meet, is it mentioned in the constitution, and how is it related to the colonial legacy, and what is this special session. Okay, so we talked about this. We'll wait and see what the government decides, because the agenda has not been revealed, and we, like everyone else, everybody is waiting. But there are few speculations. Maybe it is because of it is for uniform civil code, maybe it is for one nation one election. Okay, there's a video which has been made on Tathastu regarding one nation one election, that is it bane or boon. So I would request you to please watch it, and we'll wait what the government decides. Then we'll see, we'll discuss that specific purpose for which these special sessions have been conducted. We'll meet in the other class. Until then, take care. Bye bye.